Ghana, we're back on your screens to give you more updates of our president who is currently in Zambia with his wife, Mrs. Mahama. They are advancing Ghana's vision out there, meeting with other heads of state in Zambia. And so, as part of the itinerary, remember in the afternoon we gave you the update when he touched down in Zambia. And so, these are other things that he is going to be doing. We want to run through with you what President Mahama will be doing in Zambia. Today is the first day, and so of course, after arriving, what's next? He is scheduled to meet the Ghanaian community in Zambia to have some brief discussions and conversations with them, even though they know what is happening in the country due to the media briefing and social media. They are aware of the economic turnaround and all the social development that is happening in the country. But of course, as president, when you touch down, you need to let your people in there feel your presence, and that's what the president is currently doing. He's meeting the Ghanaian community. He will listen to them. He will also present to them what he has for them, the assurances that he has for the Ghanaian community, their safety, and how their businesses can grow in Zambia, and how they can even support other businesses or support our economy here in Ghana. And so this is what the president will be doing. He will be actually be talking and engaging the Ghanaian community in there. How would you feel if you're a Ghanaian seeing your president? Maybe this is the first time you're seeing the president ever since he came back to power. So it will serve as an opportunity for you to interact with your president, who is President John Dramani Mahama. You've been listening to each and every soul that belongs to the country, and even those that are not of the country. And so President Mahama will be doing so, and of course will ensure that every voice is heard and every idea is given the necessary attention. And so this is what's next for President Mahama today in Zambia. And so we keep you updated as we promise you, go all out for you to give you all the update that is happening here in the country and outside the country. If our president leaves, we get our eyes all over covered him to give you all the updates. And so currently he is in Zambia, and what's next for him is that he's meeting the Ghanaian community. You shouldn't forget that Ghanaians flourish everywhere they find themselves when it comes to business, sports, entertainment, whatsoever. And so it is important that he also get the understanding of what is happening in Zambia when it comes to the Ghanaian compatriots everywhere around the world. And so it is the turn of those in Zambia that they will hear from President Mahama. Of course, we are going to get you whatever he will say there about our country, the economy, the standard of living that we are experiencing, the economic turnaround. You shouldn't forget that President Mahama is just in the second year, and so far, if you look at how the economy is flourishing, I don't know how you call him a magician or what. So our other nationals that are in other countries, especially those in other African countries, need to know and hear of what is happening here from the horse's own mouth, how he's doing this for the country, looking at how the economy he actually inherited and how he's turned things around with other sectors and playing key role, and ensuring that Ghana gains that reputation in Africa. And so as part of resetting the country and even making sure that the reset that is happening in the country here in Ghana affects other African countries, this is a monumental moment for the African continent and people in Zambia to experience our president John Dramani Mahama. We told you earlier that he is not alone. He went with his beautiful wife, Mrs. Mahama. Is of course we are going to have a beautiful moment in Zambia. He also went with the Minister for Communication, the Minister for Education, and other big dignitaries that are in government at the moment to ensure that Ghana is well represented in this visit to Zambia in there. This is not the first time a president actually making a trip to Zambia, but Ghana and Zambia have had some economic ties dating some years ago, and so it is important that we rekindle all these economic ties and ensure that we get the best out of these two countries. You know, Ghana is doing well when it comes to agriculture, it comes to the built industry or the sector, when it comes to other sectors that education, the health. So it is important that you also let them know what is happening in here when it comes to the health, when it comes to education. Being one of the African countries that's running free senior high school, running free tertiary for first years, it's unprecedented for a country like Ghana to have such a thing. And so I know that the education minister being there will be one of his key highlights that he will be pitching to the Zambian community for them to also appreciate what is happening in here. And here, when it comes to digitalization, we are training 1 million coders, and what's the next step is that we are even decentralizing the training, and so we are going to have it at the district level. And so wherever you find yourself, whether in Accra, Kumasi, Cape Coast, Volta region, very soon the 1 million coders training will get to your doorstep so that you have an experience of it. So that is why the communication minister is also in there to make a strong case for what is happening here now. Digital space, that as we in our current or present time of the world is the digital world. Is of course digitalization is very important, and so it is part of the vision that Africa gets. And you shouldn't forget, when President Mahama was in Dubai, he made mention of this, that the digital world that we are shifting or tilting towards, Africa need not to be left out. And so it is one of his priorities that he's making sure that Ghana and Africa will not miss out of the digital age, and we move with the world for that transformation, of course. So we are in for a beautiful day as President Mahama interacts with the Ghanaian community. I don't know what you would have told, have in the course of the conversation, what you say to President Mahama if you were in Zambia. But then it is important that you understand your president before you pack yourself well, to let him understand your plight in there. And also we get it. Also on your screen is the arrival when President Mahama touched down in Zambia. That is what you are having a view of. He was warmly welcomed by the president of Zambia, and so he was also given the guard of honor in there with the Zambian security forces present there. So you can be rest assured that our president is safe out there, because there is an assurance that yes, that is him on your screen, well put together. That's beautiful outfit for our president, showcasing our tradition and what you believe in, made in Ghana, and wearing Ghana is a good representation. And so this is our president making sure that Ghana is well known and understood, and our culture is well received among other African countries. And so we need not to wait for any other person to do this for us. He is doing that advocacy for Ghana, well representing our beloved country. So these are the earlier shots that we gave you, the visuals that we gave you in the afternoon. And so we are continuing to give you the live update from Zambia for you to understand every step of our president. And I'm pretty sure that whenever he travels and returns to Ghana, he tries to give us the update what came out of the visit. He's been transparent so far. You can testify that he's been the most transparent president that we've ever had so far, because wherever he goes, whatever that happens, he actually makes the public understand what he brought in return. It's not about whatever he's taking out. So we're going to get the full details. That is why the government communications officer, who happens to be Felix Fosukwache, is there. We are actually going to get what is happening, or what actually Ghana is getting in return of this visit. He went to Dubai and then now in Zambia. So yes, it's part of the international communities. I mean, building a bond in the international community. Our reputation as a country in the face of other countries is very important. You know, some time ago we lost that, our reputation reduced or declined a bit. But for some time now, for the past 2 years or a year that President Mahama has been powered, that has been part of his agenda to ensure that African communities, especially the ECOWAS communities, come together and actually part a chart that will bring development. So this is not new. We've known him for that. You remember during his inaugural speech, he spoke about the Sahara region, those countries in the West African region bloc that have actually left the ECOWAS, how we can bring them back, talking about the Burkina and other countries. So we expect that he will be doing much of these visits to other African countries to ensure that yes, that cohesion that we need in Africa, one currency, improvement in our transportation should be a top priority of our conversations as a nation. Because look, if you go to the European countries, transportation is not difficult. That is why you see a lot of fans traveling when it comes to soccer. You see them from Germany to UK, back to Germany to Spain to watch games and all. If you have this, it wouldn't have been even difficult moving from Ghana to Morocco to watch the AFCON. So this is what you want. You want to see a seamless travel or transportation in Africa, and it's one of the agenda of President Mahama. So I am pretty sure that this conversation will also come up. And how have you thought of it that earlier we made mention that the gender minister is part of this visit? So we're also looking at how these two countries will come together to fight gender-based issues among ourselves, child trafficking, child labor, violence against women and men. So how do we come together as two countries to mitigate them and find lasting solution to ensure that there's gender equity in both countries to achieve success for both genders? And so that is why the gender and children's minister is also in their part of the contingent that's escorting President Mahama. You know, the Miss Lordina Foundation, one of the most prominent and first ladies foundations that we've had in this country. I will not be surprised if she will also champion this foundation and also pitch what she's doing to help other Ghanaians here and even those abroad to ensure that there is a disparity when it comes to getting some portion of the cake and also making sure that the community feels giving back to the community. And so that is why you are seeing this great people traveling with the president. So stay glued to WoezorTV. We are going to give you the breakdown whatsoever that will happen in Zambia. You will get to understand that the president is not out there for any fun. He is actually on a working visit, and he promises that he will return with good things and good message for our country, Ghana. We believe in him. What he said, he is doing it. You can testify to that. We are all aware what is happening in the country. A price of a can of malt now even more expensive than a liter of fuel. It means that there's some work has been done about the economy. We are talking about 3.5 inflation rate in January. It has never happened before, ever since you started following the politics. The lowest we have ever recorded, I understand, and this is what's happening currently in the country. And so there are other things that we can present president about. Now, if you take critical look at his traveling patterns from Singapore to China to Switzerland to Dubai, now in Zambia. It has been about advocating for Africa and making a solid point for Africa to have a place in when it comes to the world, the formation of the wealth of countries, or the powerful countries among the countries in the world. We believe that, especially when it comes to the UN Security Council, he's advocating that Africa get a representative in there, because this is a continent that is, suffering from a lot of terrorism and all those stuff. And so for us to clamp it down, we need to get that representation. So he's been a president not for only Ghana, but you can see clearly that he's leading a clear agenda of becoming a leader that is leading the drive of Africa becoming a prominent continent that we all can be proud of. And so we need to push and support what the president is actually doing for Ghana and then Zambia. So on your screen is our First Lady, who is taking her seat. Beside her is the First Gentleman of the land, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. On his right is the Foreign Affairs Minister, who is also, close to him, because actually he is moderating and ensuring that everything goes well when it comes to his travel outside the country. So you'll be joining the feed and listen to what the president has for all of us. Even though he is addressing Ghanaians in Zambia, we are going to have a feel of what he has for us all. And so stay glued to your TV set. This is WoezorTV, as we promise you each and every day that you go all out for you. Which other media house could have done this for you? And so I know you are grateful for what you're doing, and so you'll be doing it. And so I know you are ready, just as I am. Very soon we'll be hearing from our president, who is in Zambia. So this is the setup, very beautiful. I wish I was there to enjoy the moment, but of course we are here with you in Ghana, serving you the best. And so President Mahama will be speaking to all of us, even though to those in Zambia, but then this address will be for all Ghanaians at home. That is why you're seated and enjoying the feed from Zambia. And so I don't know what your expectations are, I don't know what you're expecting to hear, but of course it wouldn't be so much different from the good news that you've been hearing from President Mahama ever since he assumed office in 2025. He's been doing the wonders for Ghana. And so this is what our expectations are. We expect him to continue to give us what we want to hear as a country, anything that will drive development. And so you join the feed at the moment as we prepare to listen to our president, who is currently in Zambia.
Please, shall we all rise? Our eternal Father, we want to thank you this evening for such an amazing gathering. We are so grateful to you for our president and his family. So grateful to you for his cabinet members. So grateful to you for everyone that is in this room. Father, I stand in all of you and I decree and declare your very visible presence will touch everyone in this place, and that their lives will never be the same. I decree and declare that the words from the mouth of our president will bury that which ought to be buried. We uproot that which ought to be uprooted. Father, we destroy that which ought to be destroyed. Father, I decree and declare that our president, the words that he will speak will be fire to lift up everyone in this room. Everyone that is discouraged will be encouraged. Everyone that is down will be lifted up. Father, I decree and declare that Ghana will feel the presence of the words of our president today. That Zambia will feel it, and the world will also experience it, and it will bring change that is needed for such a time like this in the name of Jesus. I decree and declare that Father, King of Glory, all the people that are under him will be on fire to turn things around for the nation Ghana, for Zambia, and around the world, and for their individuals and their families in the name of Jesus. I decree and declare that you will bless everyone. Say your name and be glorified. What an awesome God you are. Thank you for Ambassador. Thank you for what you are doing with her and her office. We are grateful to you. Thank you, Father God. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Please be seated. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Grace. I think we can give her another round of applause. The fire alone, I believe, is firing us up for the evening. To continue, we would have welcome remarks by the head of mission, Her Excellency, Ms. Elizabeth Nyantichi. Shall we give her a round of applause to invite her?
Good evening. Your Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana. Your Excellency, Lodina Mahama, First Lady of the Republic of Ghana. Honorable Ministers, Dr. Callistus Mahama, Executive Secretary to His Excellency the President, Ambassadors, High Government Officials, distinguished members of our delegation, leaders of the Ghanaian community, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure and a deep sense of honor that I welcome you all to this important diaspora engagement held on the occasion of the state visit of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, to the Republic of Zambia. At the outset, permit me to express on behalf of the staff of the Ghana High Commission in Lusaka, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Ghanaian community my sincere appreciation to His Excellency and his entourage for taking time off their busy schedule to engage with us today. My sincere appreciation also goes to our Ghanaian compatriots for responding to the mission's invitation and for making time despite your varied professional and personal commitment to participate in this engagement. Your presence here today is a clear demonstration of your continued commitment to Ghana and your interest in the affairs of our beloved country. This gathering provides a valuable opportunity for direct interaction between the leadership of our country and Ghanaian nationals resident in Zambia, and it underscores the importance that government attaches to the Ghanaian diaspora as a key partner in our national development. Your Excellency, the Ghanaian community in Zambia, though relatively small, is vibrant, hardworking, and well integrated into the Zambian society. Our nationals are engaged across diverse sectors, including trade, education, health, faith-based activities, and professional services. And they continue to contribute meaningfully to the socio-economic development of both Zambia and Ghana. This engagement offers an opportunity to listen to the concerns, aspirations, and suggestions of our compatriots. As a mission, we are mindful of some of the challenges faced by members of the community, including issues related to immigration and residency documentation, business registration and regulatory compliance, as well as access to consular services. I wish to assure you that the mission will continue to engage relevant Zambian authorities in a constructive manner to address this concern and to safeguard the welfare of Ghanaian nationals residents in Zambia. Your Excellency, your decision to take time off your busy schedule during this state visit to engage with our compatriots reflects government commitment to diaspora engagement as an integral component of Ghana's foreign policy and development agenda. Under your leadership, government has reaffirmed the importance of the diaspora not only as ambassadors of Ghanaians abroad, but also as partners in economic transformation, investment promotion, skills transfer, and national development. In yielding the floor to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Samuel Kudjeto Ablakwa, I wish to once again thank His Excellency the President and his entourage for making time to meet with our nationals in Zambia. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the High Commissioner of the Republic of Ghana to the Republic of Zambia. Continuing, we would now have a statement by the Chairman of the Ghanaian community, Mr. William Aidu.
Your Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, the First Lady, Mama Lodina Mahama, the ministers and senior government officials present, Her Excellency Ambassador Elizabeth Nyantechi, our High Commissioner here accredited to the Republic of Zambia, elders of the Ghanaian community, colleague Ghanaians in the diaspora, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with immense joy, pride, and a profound sense of rare honor and privilege that I stand here today on behalf of the Executive Committee of the Association of Ghanaians in Zambia, and indeed the entire Ghanaian community in Zambia, to welcome also our esteemed father to the land of the great and beautiful Zambezi, Zambia. Honorable Kwesin led a delegation from Ghana to Zambia for a sitting of the Ghana-Zambia Permanent Joint Commission. We extended our congratulations through him to you, sir, for the overwhelming support Ghanaians gave you and the National Democratic Congress in the 2024 general elections to bounce back as president and government respectively. Now that you are physically here with us in Zambia, kindly allow us, sir, to congratulate you in person. Mr. President, congratulations. An impartial development of our country, Ghana, has been truly transformative and progressive. Sir, we live outside Ghana, but thanks to social media, we are alive and awake to the happenings there. If it is not a road project being commissioned, if it is not a hospital, it is an oil refinery. The ongoing projects in the span of 1 year are too numerous for me to enumerate or itemize. This feat, Mr. President, is unprecedented in the annals of Ghana since the advent of the Fourth Republic. We are deeply grateful for your vision of resetting Ghana. Your Excellency, you are not just a leader, but a leader extraordinaire. You are the chief architect of development and progress. You are the chief architect of development and progress, guiding Ghana, our motherland, towards a brighter, peaceful, glorious, and hassle-free future. Your Excellency, simply put, you are a beacon of hope, inspiration, and pride. The niche that you have carved for Ghana has made the name Mahama become a household name, synonymous with good governance, economic growth, development, and good deeds, not only in West Africa, but Africa as a whole, Zambia inclusive. Your style of governance and actions have made us proud as Ghanaians, and we are also proud of you. Hence, we walk in the streets of Zambia with our heads high, full of pride and beaming joy. It is our daily prayer that the good God, whom you have humbled yourself and chosen to serve, regardless of your position, popularity, and the day in and day out accolades and praises showered upon you by Ghanaians and non-Ghanaians alike, will contend with those who contend with you and fight against those who fight against you. That you will expose and put to shame the detractors and enemies of progress who brought your ruin or downfall. That he will keep you, our mother, Mama Lodina, and the whole family in good health. That he will grant you more wisdom and strength to work selflessly and diligently for the development and betterment of our homeland Ghana, so that it could be counted among the developed, great and strong nations. Your Excellency, sir, we thank you for gracing us with your presence. We, the Ghanaians in Zambia, as part of the Ghanaian and African diaspora, which your august government has termed as the 17th region of Ghana, pledge our full and steadfast support to you and your government as we embark on the unwavering journey and commitment to resetting Ghana. Beloved Ghanaians living in Zambia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, kindly join me once more with gladsome and joyful hearts by rising to your feet, by clapping and ululating in giving our Father in giving our Father thank you. In giving our Father the enigma of our time. The awesome, the amazing, the soft-spoken but firm, the energetic, hard-working and handsome one. The man whom God himself, according to Psalm 139 verse 14, has fearfully, wonderfully, specially, beautifully and artistically made for Ghanaians to inspire and espouse once again honesty, patriotism, selflessness and self-reliance in our culture and political sphere. The trendsetter whom Facebookers, YouTubers, TikTokers, Instagrammers, WhatsAppers and other social media players and content creators cannot go to sleep without mentioning his name and his good deeds. Our leader, our galvanizer, our hope, the man who has chased away gloom and brought back smiles on the faces of Ghanaians. Our President, Dr. John Dramani Mahama, we give you a very warm and hearty welcome to Zambia. May the good Lord bless us all. Amen.
Shall we give him a round of applause? I think Mr. Edu was a literature teacher or English teacher. I would have loved to be under your feet to study. We now have a statement by the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, my Minister, Honorable Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa, the mover and shaker.
Thank you very much. Well, Mr. President, with your permission, I think the Zambian community leader should be elected president of all Ghanaian presidents in the world. We do not have an international Ghanaian Community Association, but after what we have heard in Zambia this evening, we must immediately create one and make him the president. I asked him if he was a literature teacher. He says, no, he taught mathematics. So we must thank the Almighty that he didn't make him a literature teacher. We wouldn't have left here tonight. Your Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, Excellency First Lady, Madame Lodina Mahama, our distinguished High Commissioner to Zambia, Honorable Ministers of State, I see the Minister for Education, the Minister for Communications, the Minister for Gender, the Minister for Government Communications. I see senior government officials, Secretary to the President, ambassadors, executives of the Ghanaian community, our distinguished fellow compatriots. It is an honor to receive you this evening on this 3-day state visit. Her Excellency Ambassador Nyantechi informed us earlier today that she was expecting just a few Ghanaians, maximum 100. And that was the arrangement she made because per the embassy's register, we just have about 300 Ghanaians registered. Only to arrive here this evening, and we had to frantically call management of the hotel to bring in extra chairs. And we still see a lot of Ghanaians standing at the back. So a round of applause to all of you. We hope that you will all register so that Ambassador will update her records and will have a fair idea of the number of Ghanaians here. All of us as Ghanaians are extremely proud of the President, the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. He makes all of us proud. Only this week, the prestigious DEVEX Power 50 listed the Ghanaian President as top 5 change maker, the most transformational leader. In a world of 8.3 billion people to be selected, and this is a selection not just of political leaders, but leaders in all spheres. President Mahama has brought back dignity, he's brought back honor, he's brought back our renown, which we had lost some years ago. And if you are foreign minister and you see the tall list of demands for his presence, for his time, and these days there's something going on that my colleagues at the foreign ministry say they have never seen before. Presidents reach out to us that they want our president to be their special guest at their event. We tell them that, oh, the timing, UAE, the ruler wanted him this week. And we said, no, he's already committed to Zambia. He has a state visit in Zambia from the 4th to the 6th. So this is your event 3rd to 5th. We are sorry, we don't think that he can make it. Then they say, oh, don't worry, if it's about logistics, we are going to send a jet over. We will pick him up. He should just do the opening ceremony for us on the 3rd, and then we will bring him to Zambia at our cost, no cost to you. So if that's your worry, don't be worried. And it's not the first time. There was a similar challenge. The president had to be at the Farmers' Day. The ruler of Qatar reached out that he needs him for his Doha forum. He wants to hold talks with him. And we say, oh, your Royal Majesty, President has a very busy schedule. He has committed to the National Farmers' Day, and he's a farmer himself. He loves his farmers. We are even scared to tell him about this, your invitation, because he will not leave his farmers in Ghana. So, when is the Farmers' Day? We give them the date. So don't worry. When he's and fly him to Doha. And so if you have seen in recent times attempts to say that President Mahama is probably falling in love with private jets, this is a different kind of private jet arrangement. It is because of the honor, the high demand, and the very great prestige that President Mahama has brought to the office of the President of Ghana, that he's so well sought after. He's in such high demand that world leaders are not taking no for an answer. They are not looking at his calendar, at his schedules, whatever they will do to lift him, airlift him to their countries and send him wherever he has to be next. They are doing that. And so for the record, that is the reason why you saw a different kind of jet here. Those of you who were at the airport with us, that explains it. I heard some of you say, Ghana flag or jet. So, you know, so that was a special jet from the ruler of the UAE. It was a similar arrangement with Qatar. On our way here this evening, Secretary to the President says we are in crisis. What do we do? The Africa Union Summit next week. Virtually all the leaders have requested for bilaterals, and international organizations are requesting for side events. So if the president is to even spend 10 days in Addis Ababa, he can't. And now we don't know who to offend, because this one, you can't use your private jet to take the president away from us. And that is the crisis we have. Who to politely say, let's postpone, let's reschedule, and all of that. So we all must be proud. President Mahama has restored the honor, the prestige to the high office of president. And Ghana has taken its rightful place in the Committee of Nations. Those of you who followed developments at the last ECOWAS summit, you may have heard that all foreign ministers unanimously, when I tabled a motion that the Africa Union chairmanship is coming to West Africa, so Ghana is ready with our president who we contend is best for the job. All foreign ministers unanimously, not one. They were not afraid that they will be sacked when they go back to their countries. Some didn't even care if they are sacked because of Ghana's John Mahama. All of them put their signature on a joint resolution that when it comes to West Africa next year, February 2027, the Ghanaian president is most suitable, best fits the role to be the West African candidate, the sole candidate. That's what the resolution says, sole candidate. So they actually blocked everybody, including their own presidents, from even dreaming about challenging President Mahama. He's the sole candidate. And so as we speak, following the resolution by the Ministerial Council and the endorsement by the authority of heads of state and government, our president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is the AU chairperson in waiting. So you can start addressing him as President of Ghana, Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, and AU chairperson in waiting. So the whole of Africa, and since that resolution, all the blocs, everybody says, West Africa, you couldn't have given us a more suitable leader of our time. So, fellow Ghanaians, we all should support His Excellency the President. He has told us at the Foreign Ministry that we should prioritize consular affairs, that our mandate is to seek the welfare of all Ghanaians abroad. And that is why he gave me special permission to excuse him from the UAE official visit and to travel to Latvia to pursue truth and justice following the assassination, the killing, the murder, however you call it, of a young Ghanaian student who had gone there to study at the Riga Technical University. The Latvian government said investigations are ongoing, but we want to tell you one thing. Inform your president when you return to Ghana. We are so impressed. Many incidents happen to Africans. This is the first time that an African president has sent his foreign minister, and the government is pursuing a matter which could have been left for lawyers or only family members. It shows how you value the lives of your citizens. And let your president know that we will collaborate with you to ensure justice is achieved in this matter. You heard recently when Ghanaians were being deported on their way to Israel. And sometimes I take the flock. I am being attacked that I am the hawk at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. People don't know that President Mahama doesn't joke with his citizens, and that I can't issue these directives without express authority from the President. It is the President who said, my nationals cannot be treated this way. How dare you? You have issued visas, invited my citizens to a conference in your country, and you detain them over 4 hours and you are deporting them. Foreign Minister, you know the tool of reciprocity under the Vienna Convention for Diplomatic Relations, 1961. Go and pursue your reciprocal duties. And immediately we did. And you notice that when we also deported 3, tit for tat, we were very measurable. It was a very equitable operation. Very measured. And we mirrored the same thing. Immediately they reached out to him, called for a truce, and they said, we will go and sin no more. That is the president we have. He looks out for Ghanaians everywhere. He will not sit unconcerned for Ghanaians everywhere in the world to be manhandled, to be discriminated against, or to suffer injustice. Immediately he calls us and he demands action to protect your interests. And that is why you will have observed that now consular matters are topmost. We have established student desks in all our missions to take care of the concerns of students, to be proactive, not to allow them to be stranded and to be demonstrating before government comes to their aid. You will have observed that we are now more responsive. We have reviewed our policies on responsiveness. We have invested in new communication gadgets so that multiple calls can be received at the same time. Because we told our ambassadors, yes, you complain that You know, Ghanaian traditions, when they call, they have to greet everybody in the house and find out how you are doing, and so that's why when others are calling, they are not able to be reached. We said there's modern technology. We've invested in that, and I'm sure you can testify that our missions are now more responsive. We have also ensured that as a ministry, we are prioritizing your smooth mobility. And one of the major outcomes of this state visit, which you hear President Mahama talk about, is that for the first time in the history of Ghana-Zambia relations, we are going to have a free visa between our two countries. So you no longer have to stress about visas. So we are going to have a visa waiver agreement, and it is one of the conditions that President Mahama gave us for this visit. He said, Foreign Minister, if you don't make this happen, don't join me on this visit. So Chief Director will tell you, whilst I was in Latvia, I was on her, she was chairing the technical committee meetings. I told her that you know the directive. So I'm told that it was, because we have 3 kinds of passports. They have only 2, diplomatic and then ordinary passports. So they didn't see how, they said we are not aligned because we have diplomatic, service and ordinary passports. But we told them there is a presidential directive. If you want our president to be here and you want his wishes to be granted, then you have to make sure that we reach this deal. And at 11:30 p.m. last night, they reached out to their president, and he said, if it's my brother's wish, I'm going to grant you. So we have the visa waiver agreement. This will bring the number to 15 visa waiver agreements since President Mahama was sworn into office. So now the Ghanaian passport is one of the most valuable. You've seen all the rankings. Other countries are putting pressure on their presidents, teasing their president. On social media, it's very interesting. There's a particular country that say they want to borrow our president for just 1 week. You know. So we now have about 50. We now have about 50 countries that with the visas that you can travel to. And since independence, since 1957, if President Mahama alone has done 15, imagine if all his predecessors were doing that. And at this rate, by the time he leaves office, we should be maybe approaching 70 or 80 countries. Visa waiver agreements and dignified travel by Ghanaians. And when you are holding the Ghanaian passport, you know that we have now moved from the outdated biometric passports. We now have chip embedded passports. Technology is top-notch because we took our time to do it and do it well. And in addition to rolling out the new chip-embedded passport, President Mahama says passports should be more affordable to all. So, improving quality, improving access, and yet he asked us to reduce the price by 30%. So, the passports modernized, more secure, more valuable. You can travel now to more than 50 countries visa-free, and yet you are paying less, 30%, reduced from 500 cities to 350 Ghana cities. And that is not all. I know that you are all from the 16 regions of Ghana. For the first time in our country's history, you can apply for passports wherever you come from, in all 16 regions in Ghana. Never happened in Ghana's history since 1957. So now Mama Lodina's region center, they have one. Bono has it, Ahafo has it. The President's region, Savannah, asked us to negotiate a lot of labor mobility agreements. So you are seeing that these days we are having our teachers, our nurses go to other countries. It is because President Mahama wants Ghanaians to enjoy the benefits of development. So all of us should support President Mahama. Let's pray for him. Let's continue to live high Ghana. Since we came, we haven't heard of any incident. You are the typical good Ghanaian, no brushes with the law. Please continue that way and support the president so that he will continue to seek our interests, to seek our welfare, and give us that pride, that joy, that happiness, that betterment of life which he has dedicated his life to. So we thank the president very much for making time to be with us at this Ghanaian community meeting. Anytime he travels, he says that I want to meet my Ghanaians. Another round of applause for him. No matter how tired he is, he just arrived from UAE, but he said he must meet Ghanaians before his early morning schedules tomorrow. So, Mr. President, we thank you very much, and we are so grateful to you for the inspiration and for the vision. And you make me walk around as foreign minister with a very big head. My big head is always bigger because of President Mahama. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you. Shall we give him a round of applause? And now, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, it is now my singular honor and profound privilege to invite to the podium the visionary leader, champion of progress, architect of the Accra Reset, and the duly elected President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Your Excellency, the entire gathering rises in warm welcome. Akwaba, please grace us with your voice and inspire us with your words.
Thank you. Thank you. Kindly resume your seat. Thank you very much. Let me acknowledge the chair of the Ghanaian community in Zambia and all of you distinguished Ghanaians resident here, and then also acknowledge our ambassador, our High Commissioner actually, and her hard-working embassy staff, our ministers of state and senior government officials who have accompanied me here, and of course, most importantly, to acknowledge the wife of the President of Ghana. Mrs. Lodina Mahama. I want to thank you for the warm welcome, especially for the welcome party that met us at the airport. Your enthusiasm was very infectious, and my arrival was being telecast live, and so your families back home saw you at the airport waving and cheering, and so I've got a few comments, about Ghanaians at the airport and how enthusiastic you were when we arrived here. I want to thank President Hichilema for this invitation to come on a state visit. We all know the historic relations that exist between Ghana and Zambia. Ghana was the liberation headquarters for freedom from colonialism on our continent. And after Ghana gained independence, of course, you remember the famous words of our president, first president, when he said our independence was meaningless unless it was linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. And he not only said it in words, he lived it in reality, because Ghana Africa lived There's been a tradition where we meet our citizens anytime we go on a visit to another country. And initially, the tradition developed from when our citizens travel abroad. They normally don't get enough information about what is happening in Ghana. In those times, if somebody was coming from Ghana, you ask him to bring you newspapers, or if you wanted to read Ghanaian newspapers, you had to go to the embassy, to the media section, and see newspapers 2 weeks old, just to acquaint yourself with what was happening at home. Otherwise, then it was letters from your relatives and all that. Or once a while, if something happens, then and it happens to be carried on the international media, then you know what's going on. Today, you get all that news in an instant. And I'm sure that we left Accra 2 days ago, and so you probably are more up to date with what has been happening in Ghana than we are, because we've been traveling. And so that tradition, even though has become irrelevant, because the information you need, you have at your fingertips, it is still necessary for leaders to meet our citizens and interact with you and have a feel of what is happening to you in your countries of residence, the challenges you face, and also to explain to you some of what is happening back at home. We held elections in 2024. It was a very high-stake election. I'm sure all of you followed the tension and the anxiety that was associated with that election. But one of the things that I continuously said was that 2024 was a defining moment for our country, because it was our last opportunity to prove to the world and to ourselves and to our nation that democracy can work. Because increasingly all the opinion polls and survey were showing that our citizens were getting tired of our democratic experiments. They believed it wasn't working, corruption was vast, opportunities were closing for young people. And if you notice, in West Africa, democracy had started backsliding, and so there were coups in different countries. And indeed, our own young people were beginning to admire a military dictatorship. And so I said that this election was a make or break, and whoever won it had to take drastic action to ensure that we restore faith in our democracy. And so what I'm doing is not for myself, it's for our country, that we don't also fall into the same trap where we return to unconstitutional governance. I'm doing it for all of us. I'm doing it for the political elites. And so there are some severe decisions that one has to take, not because I enjoy taking them, but to reignite the trust of our people in our democracy. This has been an onerous responsibility, and I'm thankful to the people of Ghana for the overwhelming support that we were given. Indeed, it's been unprecedented in the history of the Fourth Republic that any administration has been given a 2/3 majority in Parliament. And some people have asked me if I'm not a supreme leader. And so it puts an onerous responsibility on us, because it shows that Ghanaians' expectations are high. They've given you what you need in terms of support to be able to reset the country and create new opportunities for them and for young people. We inherited a country that was sick, let me put it at that. The economy was in crisis, governance was in tatters. We had so many issues in all sectors, in education, in healthcare, in agriculture. And most of all, we had defaulted on our debts. Our debts to GDP had risen above 100%. And nobody wanted to lend to Ghana again. Ghana was almost becoming a basket case. And so we fought the election on the overarching theme of the reset agenda. We said that our objective was to win power and reset Ghana in all sectors. And I likened it to when your computer freezes. However much you punch the key, it won't unfreeze. You have to reset the computer, and then it will start working again. And so we said that Ghana needed a reset. Now the reset cuts across all sectors. It's not in respect of any one sector. It has to do with governance and looking at our constitution again, and that's how come we promised that under governance we're going to set up a constitution review committee to review our constitution and make necessary amendments in order to make it a living constitution that can serve us for another 30 to 50 years. And so I ignited that process as soon as I came into office, and the committee finished its work, presented its report. We are just at the point of announcing the Constitution Review Implementation Committee that will start the process of implementing the Constitution. The other side under governance on the reset agenda was accountability. That is the fight against corruption. People who hold public trust must be accountable to the people. And a time was coming when there was such impunity in government. It was like people just went into politics and government to enrich themselves. And so every week, every fortnight, there was a major scandal. And that was part of the reason for the loss of trust in the political elite. And so it was necessary to come and bring that to order. And first of all, to look at people who had abused the public trust and hold them accountable, but at the same time send a signal to our own people that if you cross the line like they have, you will also find yourself in the same position. We'll have to deal with you. I'll not be happy about it, but it demands that if you also abuse public trust, the law is the law. It must work and hold you to account. And then there was also the part to do with the economy. We had lost macroeconomic stability completely. We're in an IMF program. All the IMF indicators by the time we took office were off track, because the government had done its best to a certain point, and just before the election there was a $360 million that was supposed to be paid, and so they had met all the triggers. And as soon as the $360 million was paid, that's it. They didn't take any action. All the agreements with IMF, you have to do this, you have to do this. So we came in January and the program was completely off track. And so we had to call an emergency meeting and got our finance team and everybody to start working to try to put the program back on track before the IMF review mission in April. And so from January to April, that is what we were busy doing. There were some agreements that the government had entered into with IMF. We're going to pass this law, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to review electricity tariffs, we're going to do this. And so we had to look at all those things and take all those tough decisions in the early days, before April. Happily, when the mission came and did the review, we had managed to bring the program back on track. And so they gave us a positive mark for it, and the next tranche of the IMF support was released, and that gave a new lease of life to the economy. But we have made quite some good progress with the economy. I'll talk more about that. But under the reset agenda, another plank was agriculture for economic transformation, supporting farmers to produce more so that we could make food more affordable. And so we've launched several programs. Some of them are the ones you know, the Nkokon program, where we give a family, a household, 50 chickens. These are not day-old chicks. These are about 4-week-old. They call them pullets. And we give them pullets because in the early time, when you give them day-old chicks, if they don't look after them properly, they are sensitive, they can lose them. So we make sure that we look after them till they're about 4 weeks. When they are grown and robust, then we give to them. And all they need to do is to look after them for another 6 weeks. And we give them the food to feed the chickens for 6 weeks. And by 6 weeks, they've reached the weight where they are ready for the market. And so within 6 weeks, you sell 50 and you make your money, and you can register and take another 50, so that it brings an income into the household. But aside from the Nkokon Kite, there are other aspects, the vegetable program, and that has seen an increase in vegetables. There's also the promotion of commercial agriculture, that has seen an increase in grain production, maize, soya bean, and so many things. Indeed, we have to consider protecting our farmers now, because the prices have dropped so steeply that the farmers are beginning to complain that they are not able to recoup what they put into producing the food. We also have, under the reset agenda, another pillar called the Big Push, and that is the Big Push for infrastructural development. The majority of the money for the Big Push is going into the road network, because the road network had deteriorated so badly, and something needed to be done about it. And what pushes a country's progress and in transformation is the possession of good roads, to be able to move people and goods very quickly across the country. It is what catalyzes the growth of countries and their economies. And so there's no doubt that a big chunk of the Big Push money had to go into roads. But some of it is going into education, is going into agriculture. We're setting up the first 11 farmer service centers, where we're going to bring tractors, combine harvesters, threshers, plows, harrows, trailers, everything. And we're going to put them in the food growing areas. And so the farmers can go there and seek the services of these equipment in order that they can expand their agriculture. We also have the Accelerated Export Development Program, which I chair personally. The council that is responsible for this, I am the chair, and we meet once every quarter to look at the export numbers and see how we're doing in terms of improved exports. But of course, the most important and critical task was the economy. Happily, we had a good team at the Bank of Ghana, led by the governor, and we also had a good team at the Ministry of Finance, led by the Honorable Ato Forsen. And for the first time, I've been president before, and when I say for the first time, I've seen the best working relationship between the bank and the Ministry of Finance. The coordination has been excellent, and so monetary policy go by, and that will be a replacement of what you normally would call the economic management team. And in this case, myself and the Vice President are both on that Presidential Advisory Group. The Vice President chairs in my absence, but then it gives us the opportunity to think, and we've got some of the best, well-renowned people in their respective fields, economics and different places, who are sitting on that. And indeed, when we were just getting off the plane, the news broke that it had fallen further to 3.8%. But indeed, the wonder of this economic turnaround is some guy called the CD. He has been beaten and battered over the years, and he surprised everybody in 2025 with an astounding performance. Began with a 47% appreciation against the dollar, but ended the year at 32% appreciation overall. And it's the first time really the CD, since it was redenominated, has appreciated in value that time. And it has been through very hard times, even in times when the CD has still struggled. This time we didn't lock the dollar, but the CD itself has punched the dollar and subdued it, and it's created an improved situation in the economy. The economy is more stable, it's more predictable, available to investors and to manufacturers and producers, and so it's created a conducive environment for investment. The foreign direct investment figures are not yet out, but in 2024 I think that it was 700 million. Preliminary information I have is that by the time they finish calculating for 2025, we'll be pushing almost 2 billion in foreign direct investments, and that's just for 2025 soon. But we're giving a target on primary balance of 1.5%. We appear to have done above 2% of GDP, which is also one of the important indicators. Every sector is showing improvement. The energy sector, we've paid down the energy sector debts. We've paid for the gas that we've been consuming for electricity. The independent power producers who were owed so much money, we've paid them, and we've given them a payment plan to clear all the arrears. And so the energy sector is more stable now, and so people's lights are not going off. Indeed, I see funny videos where people ask ECG to put up the lights a bit because their meat is frozen and all that. And so the energy sector is going quite well. There's also ECG. I was a very sick man. ECG has recovered, and collections that were as low as 1.2 billion or 1 billion a month have risen to 1.9 billion and still rising. Miracles continue to happen. Tema Oil Refinery, which was comatose for so many years, 7 years, has kicked up and has started refining crude oil in Ghana again. Several of the state-owned enterprises. The good thing is when Tema Oil Refinery is working, it allows us to get petroleum products at a lower cost. That is what is contributing partly to the reduced cost of petroleum, because when they bring the crude oil and they process it, we get more volumes and we don't buy at spot price on the international market. And so they are ramping up. They are not at full production yet, but once they do, it will inure to the benefit of our country. Of course, the price of crude oil has dipped, and that is partly contributing for the better prices that we're getting. And then also the CD appreciation has also contributed to that. State-owned enterprises are turning around and making profits instead of losses. We are asking all of them. There are many state-owned enterprises who for 7 to 8 years have never produced an annual report. Meanwhile, it's obligatory for them to do it. This year I said, woe betide any chief executive of a state-owned enterprise who by the end of April, which is the target date, has not done your audits and presented your annual reports. I won't say what will happen, but and so we've seen also improved economic activity. Business is booming, and one sign of booming economic activity is travel congestion. And so more people are using their cars because first people couldn't buy fuel. They would not drive unnecessarily. But now that fuel is more affordable, people are using their cars more and going to places they wouldn't have gone before. And then apart from that, once business is booming, people want to go around and be able to chase opportunities and all that. And so we need to see how to expand the road network, find alternative routes and all that in order that we ease the congestion. I have my little brother Haruna Idrisu here, who's been anchoring the education space, and he's handled, first he did the National Education Review exercise, which gave us what the challenges in the education sector were, and he has been responsible for implementing those solutions. And one major headache was the free SHS. We did not have dedicated funding for the free SHS. So most of the time, a term will end, a semester will end, and the money for the schools has not been released. And so the quality of the food was poor and affected teaching and learning in the schools. Happily, working with the Minister of Finance, they fixed that. We have dedicated funding for the free SHS. We uncapped the GET fund, and the portion of it that was uncapped yields about 3.something billion, 4 billion. And so we dedicated all that to free SHS. So the children are getting better food. I don't hear many complaints about quality of food again. We're expanding infrastructure in the schools so that we can take in more children. We're improving. We have 3 categories of SHS. We have category A, category B, and category C. Everybody wants his child to go to a category A school. If not, then a category B. And normally nobody wants the category C. And so we are going to start investing from this year to improve the category C schools to category B and improve the category B schools to category A, so that children can get a fair opportunity to be able to learn. And so that is also improving things. The basic school level has been neglected. The previous government focused just on SHS because it was their flagship program, free SHS. So you go to many schools and they had no textbooks, no school furniture. Children were sitting on the floor and learning. This year we're going to provide 2 million pieces of school furniture. We want by 2028. One by 2028 that no Ghanaian pupil will sit on the floor or lie on his stomach to write or to study in school. And so, I mean, I can't talk about every sector, but in healthcare, we have the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, otherwise called Mahama Cares, which is supposed to cater for non-communicable diseases. These are kidney disease, liver disease, cancers, strokes, cardiothoracic sicknesses and all that. These are very expensive to diagnose and treat. And most often when a member of the family comes down with a non-communicable disease, the family spends a lot of money to try to diagnose and treat the person. The drugs are expensive, diabetes and all that. And so government decided that we'll lend a helping hand to Ghanaians who are suffering those diseases. But we must make a change in our lifestyles. These are mainly lifestyle diseases. They didn't exist before. Our fathers didn't have cancers and diabetes and all that. But because we are sedentary, we don't walk, we don't farm the way our fathers used to do. Wherever we go, we sit in cars and all that. And so because there's no physical activity, if you continue to eat the bankus and the big fufus and things, obesity and all that comes with high blood pressure and diabetes and all that. And so while trying to support those living with non-communicable diseases, we must start a strong education campaign to teach Ghanaians how to live well so that they can avoid these diseases and live a longer life. There's also the primary health care that we're going to start this year. The primary health care is going to guarantee access to health care for everybody at the CHIPS compound level, the health center level, up to the district hospital level. If you're a Ghanaian, you have your Ghana card, you don't need to pay an NHIS premium. You go, you show your Ghana card, you're entitled to free treatment. And so that will revolutionize. But the part I like about it is the community volunteers. In every community, there's going to be a community volunteer. He'll be equipped with basic equipment, or either the community pharmacy would have it, where they can just prick your finger and see if your blood sugar is normal, and then they can check your blood pressure to make sure that you don't have hypertension. And if you have, we're going to supply them with generic drugs that are cheap, and so you can buy those generic drugs and be able to you'll be giving them free. Actually, you get those drugs and to be able to treat yourself. They'll do every 6 months you must go do a breast check to avoid breast cancer. We'll do pap smears to make sure that women are not suffering from cervical cancer. So the community volunteers will be responsible for that, and they'll have a community record of everybody, and so they're able to, when we go, we can get a report and see what the health profile of the whole community is. But all in all, we have a great team. I couldn't have done this alone. I have a team of young, ambitious, hardworking ministers and government officials supporting me, and they bought into the vision that I have. And so we're working together as a team. I'm not doing this alone. My ministers are up to the task. They are very energetic. I call them at odd hours of the night. My ministers here, Sam George Haruna, my Minister of Government Communications, I call him at 2 a.m. and Finance Minister, as for him, I'm always, if I couldn't do, I'll move and live in his house, because the number of times I call him and summon him to my house. But they are a great team, and everybody is working very hard, and that is what is producing those results. And I'm sure that in 2026 they're going to work even harder. But just to conclude, I want to thank you, the members of the diaspora. A lot of time we focus on the remittances that you bring home. Those are not the most important things. There are other things that you do, like bringing skills back home after you've lived outside and worked for some time. You bring new skills that we didn't have. You get enlightened about new ways of doing things, and so you're able to bring back those new ideas home. And then aside from that, some of you, after you're finished, you come back as entrepreneurs. And so today when you go, some of the foreign direct investment that comes in is not from foreigners, it's also from Ghanaians who are relocating back to Ghana to set up a business, and it provides employment for our young people. And so that's a good thing. But aside from that, you are ambassadors of Ghana in whichever countries you are. And any country I go to and I ask about my citizens, they say, oh, Ghanaians are the best behaved, very well behaved. And the news here in Zambia is the same. They say Ghanaians don't get into trouble, you know, and they are all very well behaved. And so I want to thank you for that. Tomorrow is the key day. We'll visit the burial grounds to pay our respect to the past president. But the main business will be the bilaterals that we're going to have with President Hakainde and his team. And as the foreign minister said, we're going to sign 8 memorandums of understanding. And one of those memorandums of understanding is the waiver of visas between Ghana and Zambia. And so Ghanaians will be able to travel without visa to come to Zambia, and Zambians can also travel to Ghana. They don't need a visa to come to Ghana. But probably the highlight is my address to Parliament. One of the honors that any democracy can do you is when you visit to give you the honor of addressing their Parliament. And President Hakainde has given me that honor to address the Zambian Parliament, and so maybe some of you might be there to listen to the address. There's a lot that we can share with Zambia because it has a similar profile to Ghana. It's a country with a lot of mining potential like Ghana has, and some of the challenges we face in terms of environmental destruction are some of the challenges they also have here. So sharing notes about illegal mining and all that is going to be important. But one new idea we've been pushing in Ghana is what we call the issue of natural resource sovereignty. The developed world say they are tired of giving us aid, and so humanitarian assistance, they are cutting it. They need to invest that money for their people. Aside from that, they must increase their defense spending, and so ODA is going down. And we say, oh yeah, you are right, you have the right to do that. You have the right to use your resources. We cannot continue to depend on you for aid. But then we too must be able to do something to look after our people. And so our gold and things you come and take almost for free, we too will not allow you to take it like that. And so one of the first things we did, our most abundant mineral wealth is gold. And then after that you have manganese and bauxite and all of it. And so when we came, it was virtually a free-for-all. The small-scale mining sector was producing 63 tons of gold per year, 63 tons. And out of the 63 tons, the money that was repatriated in dollars back to Ghana was accounted for by 40 tons. And so it meant that the forex generated by 23 tons never ever came back to our country. When we established the gold board and put in the new regulations, the production from the small scale sector jumped from 63 tons to 104 tons in 10 months. Because the gold board was established in April. And so April will be 1 year since we established the gold board. But in 10 months, gold exports from the small scale sector has jumped from 63 tons to 104 tons. And the good thing is 100% of the forex for 104 tons has returned to Ghana through the Bank of Ghana. And as you've heard, in 10 months alone, $10 billion have come into the Bank of Ghana from our gold exports from the small-scale mining sector. And that is why there's more foreign exchange available. And so people have found that hoarding foreign exchange or hedging foreign exchange is not necessary, because The dollars are not going to go anywhere. We're generating enough dollars, and we'll generate even more because when the world is unpredictable, people hedge in gold. And as you must have heard, gold hit the $5,500 mark when presidents are throwing tariffs around as if they are sharing, a pancake. Then it creates instability in the world, and it makes Ghana laugh all the way to the bank. And so I don't say they should throw more tariffs, but I mean we should take advantage of any opportunity. All the other minerals too, we're insisting that they be refined and value added before they're exported. So manganese, we're giving a target. We're going to stop raw manganese exports from Ghana. They must set up the plants to process the ore and produce the finished product. Bauxite is the same. For bauxite, there's already a ban on export of raw bauxite. But we're pushing it so that we can put up the refinery, produce the alumina, give the alumina to Valco to smelt, and then export the finished aluminium products. And so far so good. And I want to thank you for taking time off, for coming to meet me at the airport, but also for taking time off to come and meet with us here. Thank you so much. God bless you.
We give him a standing ovation. Shall we please take our seats? Mr. President, thank you for your great insights into Ghana's economy. And with your kind permission, Your Excellency, may I invite a few comments and questions? Thank you. In view of the limited time and the fact that the President has an early appointment tomorrow, I would crave your kind indulgence to please be brief and straightforward in your interactions. Thank you. Shall we? Okay, in the black shirt over there. Yes, please. I think you can come forward. So maybe if we have a set. Okay. Yes, please, Mr. Queno.
Thank you, Sis Monica. Your Excellency, welcome to Zambia. My name is Nana Apia Kwaeno. Come from Setrahiman in Wasa East. Thank you for all you've done and you continue to do in Ghana. I think one of the areas that we've been really looking to see some reform is in the area of land administration. I think we've done a lot of work over the years on national identification and also the area of addresses and people. You go back, gone are the days where you will direct someone to say, oh, I live behind the watch cellar, and go around. Now we have a GPS system. But land administration still continues to be a major problem, where you acquire land, you wait for 14 years, and it's still not been registered. Or multiple sales of land. It's a big disincentive for some of us in the diaspora that want to do stuff in Ghana. So I would want to hear maybe what the plan is in your tenure to really deal with that issue of land administration for foreign direct investments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Queno. Shall we have the next question, please? Yes, the gentleman in the Batakari. Yes. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gabriel Kwesi Asari. I'm a Zambian-born Ghanaian here. And it's a privilege to talk to you and meet you in person, and all distinguished delegates, all protocols observed as I present this question. I work for Soilcraft Incorporated. It's a company that's from the United States of America that's based here in Zambia. And our work is focused on water treatment for mining areas, as well as advanced So our advanced agronomy work helps small scale to large scale. We're talking about major cooperative agricultural production so that we can improve food security as well as improving efficiency in quality of irrigation. So my question for you was, how does the scope look like for bilateral cooperation for Zambian companies like Soilcraft, and then also trying to integrate that with the existing entities that are already in Ghana so that we can create this synergy, because you've already enlightened me on what's happening in Ghana, and it's something that my company is looking forward to try and embark on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great question. Mrs. Koka? Yes. Reverend.
All protocols observed. My name is Rabbi Lombe, married to a Ghanaian. My question is, when are we going to see the airlines come from? Because I think it was addressed in the last meeting by Her Excellency before she left that we're going to have a direct flight. As you know, flying in Africa is very expensive, and we look forward to very fair pricing when we fly from here to Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mama Rabbi. The gentleman at the back, could you please stand so they locate you easier?
Thank you. All protocols observed. Thank you very much for visiting us here in Zambia. And I see myself. Okay. Mr. President, you remind me of my Prime Minister in Barbados, Mia Motley. You have the same vision, fight, determination, and will to change with the vision that we need of African and African Caribbean leaders. So my time in Ghana I spent in your space. I met Samira, and I was at a few events around your space, but we didn't actually meet. But it's good to see you here. I'm very pleased to see you. My question is, while I was in Ghana, we had a situation of lots of calamity, as we call it. And I've since worked with a company to develop an area where we can actually change the whole process and deal with calamity, so we can actually treat the earth and treat the water and allow that earth then to be used again for crops, for growing what we need to grow, whether it's cocoa, coconuts, or purely agriculture. So I'd like to get involved, if I can, in the remediation of the process of the chemicals within the earth which have been put there, whether they're Chinese or whether they're local Ghanaians who didn't know any better. The land.
Thank you. Great comment there. The next question. Yes. The lady in the brown. And that will be the last.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. President, fellow Ghanaians. Indeed, it's a privilege to see our president here. First of all, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. My name is Gloria Adeji, HR Consultancy for Risk HR Zambia. Mr. President, I'm amazed about the support on the chronic sickness in terms of palliative care. I will plead with you, if there can be a support for families that families are faced with this palliative care when it comes to those cancers, because it's difficult in managing. So if there can be education and training and voluntary participation, it will help. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. At this juncture, I would like to find out if some of our ministers would like to make brief interventions. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As you noted, when the foreign minister was speaking, he highlighted Ghana, Zambia, and one of the MOUs to be signed tomorrow is an airline agreement. So that is to sit in tandem with your thinking that there will be an airline. 2 weeks ago, the Minister for Transport, the Honorable Nipeda President Mahama appointed, was in Tanzania to facilitate Air Tanzania entering Ghana. And he announced that by the end of this year, you see Ghana in the skies. President Mahama will support him to achieve that. I'm sure Mr. President will take up the last one. But Mr. President, last 2 weeks, asked his Minister for Lands to brief him on the state of land administration in Ghana for him to take consequential action on matters that affected investment in lands and to end those matters. The Honorable Bua, through his Deputy Honorable Yusuf, gave Mr. President extensive discussion on it, the overall land situation in Ghana. President Mahama's commitment is to preserve and protect public lands. The days of grabbing public lands is over and will not happen under his watch as president. He gave the minister that assurance. We've taken note of it. There is a new land administration thing that is being developed between the Ministry of Communication and Lands. Maybe Sam George will take it. So to assure you that you have progressive, transformative President Mahama who is resetting Ghana, be assured that he means well. He assumed office acutely aware of the challenges of the economy, and one of your major concerns is justice. The wheels of justice run slowly, but it will grant to a necessary process. So be aware. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I think that I'll just throw a bit more light on the land reforms that are underway. Relative to the NDC's manifesto, the Reset Agenda manifesto, if you read under the land section, we promised that we were going to digitize the land registry department. And so the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has written on the back of the first cabinet level AI retreat that was held on the African continent, was under the instructions of President Mahama, where the entire cabinet was sent out for 3 days to do case studies on what we could deploy AI in each sector. On the back of that, the Lands Ministry has asked for the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, where I serve the President, to start the processes with the Lands Commission to use blockchain technology to begin the registration of land assets. Now, anybody who is familiar with blockchain technology knows that once we verify and authenticate the ownership of the land and place it in the ledger, it is locked. It is immutable, it's unchangeable. Not even, respectfully, Mr. President, can change the ownership. So then, once we start that process and authenticate ownership of land and lock it in that blockchain ledger, it then means that when you buy your land, or you're going to buy your land, and you go to the Lands Commission and they give you the ownership of that land, you know that that land is yours. So when you work here and you want to come back home and buy land, you know that this is the real owner, this is the real family, this is the real stool that owns the land. You buy the land, your title is preserved in that ledger as well. And the issue of double and triple sales of land will come to an end. So that's part of the reset agenda. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you'd like to intervene, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And as part of the business forum, the Minister of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation is leading a 12-member fintech group from Ghana to interact with their Zambian counterparts. These are fintech groups across the whole fintech space, agric and all the other specialities. And so for those of you who will be there, it will be a very interesting session to attend. But like you said, we're introducing blockchain technology to ensure that we digitize the records of the land registry. The issue with land administration One is the registering of title and processing of land documents, and that's what we are dealing with as government. But there's also the other side, where land belonging to families and chiefs, are double sold to people. And a lot of the time, people who go to buy lands don't even go back to the Lands Commission to make a search to find out whether the person selling the land to them is the real owner or not. And so they pay the money to somebody, and then the real owner pops up and says, but that land doesn't belong to this. Or sometimes it's a family selling it, and one person goes and sells it. You pay the money to him, and then another pops up and says, oh, this one, he was brought as a slave. His great-grandfather was a slave. He's not part of our family. He had no right to sell it. It's just such a mess. But if we educate Ghanaians that anybody who wants to sell a land to you, ask for a copy of the document. Once we've digitized the records, you go to the lands registry, they will look at it, they will have the record of the land from where it has passed to who, and who owns it currently. And then when you're dealing with that person, you know that legally you are dealing with the right person. With regards to public lands, we set up a committee. They presented their report, and we've cancelled several leases that had not been processed yet. These were public lands that were just distributed and looted. I mean, people just carved up and bought for cheap. I mean, lands, there are people who buy a land, government land at 150,000 cedis and turn around and sell that same plot of land for $2 million. And these are lands in prime areas. And yet if you look at the value that they are giving and how much people buy them for and turn around and resell them, it just doesn't make sense at all. And so we've got a committee. They've mapped out, not only in Accra, all the regions, what the status of public lands are. In some places, people have finished building and are even living in the houses. It will be difficult to say, look, we're going to break this house and take the land back. And so in those cases where they have processed title, then what we're doing is we're asking them to pay the true value of the land. The land cannot have been 140,000 cedis in airport residential or somewhere like that. But those that were in the process of being done at the time that we came, we have halted that process, and we're taking those lands back. But when we take those lands back, it means that we must find a proper way of making sure that another group won't come and start selling them again. And so I want to bring something to Parliament about divestiture of public property. If you want to sell public property, you would need the approval of the representatives of the people. And so any public land processing will not be processed at the Land Commission unless it is ratified in Parliament. This will stop the rampant sale of government assets. Today, TOR is working again. There was an attempt to hand over TOR to somebody for 15 years, and I mean, really, what say do the people have? So one government without the say-so of the people's representatives. And so if we pass that divestiture bill that protects public property, includes lands, includes all kinds of things, before you can want to auction property or sell off a public land or sell off a government factory or something, you have to go to the representatives of the people. And if they think that it is fair, they will approve it. If they think it's not fair, they don't approve it. And if they don't approve it, then it can't happen. And so I've asked the Attorney General to work on something. With regards to agric production, one of the agreements we're signing tomorrow, the MOUs, covers the agricultural sector. And so we can use that as a framework, for collaboration in that sector. I know that in East Africa, agriculture is very prolific, and there is a lot that we can share together. We're also trying to scale up small and medium farmers into large-scale farmers. But aside from that, we are trying as much as possible to move a lot of our agriculture from rain-fed agriculture to irrigation, where we have control of water, because with climate change, 2 years ago we had a dry spell, and that led to a fall in food production. And so we're investing in irrigation, bringing land under irrigation and settling the farmers on it so that they're able to improve their yields. Honorable Haruna has talked about the airline. One of the agreements, MOUs tomorrow, is a bilateral air services agreement. And I think that once we have that framework, it will encourage, direct airline traffic between Ghana and Zambia. Ghana is in the process of restarting our national airline. Ghana Airways was one of the first airlines in Africa, ourselves and Ethiopian Airlines. Look where Ethiopian Airlines is today. And Ghana Airways was liquidated just because of a debt of $80 million. Meanwhile, its assets worldwide were in excess of $500 million. If you have property worth $500 million and you owe only $80 billion, I don't see the reason to have liquidated. And the problem is Ghana Airways, it was just a management problem. It had nothing to do with the equipment or anything. It was just the management. And so we should have found a way of, rejigging the management. And I'm sure that it would have been a much bigger airline. It would have been like the Kenya Airways of this world and the Ethiopian Airways of this world. With regards to land reclamation, we would like to share experience, but we've started. The EPA has signed its first contract for reclamation, and that is for 1,000 hectares of mined out land. It's a pilot, and what they're doing is they are cleaning the water. There are solutions for water treatment to take out the toxins, and so they're cleaning the water, pumping the water out after it has been cleaned, and then they're leveling the ground. And then there are particular plants that you plant on that soil, and they eat up the toxins in the soil. And so you plant those ones for some years, they eat up the toxins, and you can come and clear them and then plant oil palm or cocoa or anything on it. So we started the first 1,000 hectares, and if it proves to be successful, we're going to scale it up to cover. We estimate that there's about 10,000 hectares so far that immediately is in need of reclamation. And so we're starting the first 1,000, and then we'll go on to reclaim the rest of the lands. We are succeeding gradually in the fight against illegal mining. It's been a tough battle. We seized the Shamfam machines, we destroyed them, we burned them, we seized the excavators and all that, and especially for those in forest reserves and those on water bodies. And so gradually we're beginning to see some of the water bodies that were very polluted and had discolored water. They are beginning to clear. We're seeing clear water flowing through them again. It's not a fight we're going to relent on. We'll keep fighting until we win the battle. With regards to the non-communicable diseases, yes, we're going to support the families with diagnosis and care. We realize that the first thing is to diagnose and find out that the person has this disease before you go to treatment. And one of the things we noticed was that depending on which part of the country you were, if you had a non-communicable disease, you would die. And so, for instance, kidney failure, if you live in some parts of the country, there's no kidney dialysis machine. And so you either have to travel from that part of the country to either Kumasi or Accra or some of the other places that have it. And can you imagine the transport cost before the dialysis cost? And so one of the first things we're doing is to make sure that we spread the diagnosis equipment across the country. And so Mahama Care is going to spend part of, this year they have a budget of 2.1 billion cedis. They're going to spend part of that budget investing in dialysis machines, in CT scan machines, in MRIs, in all the other machines that you need to be able to diagnose non-communicable diseases. And they're going to equip the hospitals in parts of the country that do not have that equipment. We also are introducing what is necessary for cancer treatments in other places. In the whole of the north, only Tamale Teaching Hospital handles cancer treatment, and even they handle it only in terms of chemotherapy. They don't have the radiotherapy equipment and all that. So part of it is going to retool the hospitals to be able to provide care to everybody, and at the same time to help them pay the costs of the treatment. We have some properties here in Ghana that were in Zambia that were acquired in the time of our first president. There was an attempt to sell off some of those properties, but the minister has assured me that we have recovered them, and so all our 5 properties in Zambia are intact. And soon we're going to start renovating our chanceries and everything. The Minister of Finance is working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to raise some money so that in places where we have lands we haven't built on them yet, we'll build on them so that we secure the place. There are many places where we're given land in Nkrumah's time and we haven't built, and the host governments are threatening to take the lands back. And so as quickly as possible we have to put our properties on those lands so that we're able to retain them. And at that time that Nkrumah was there, the properties today are prime properties because they are almost, in the important districts of the country, and so we must do everything to secure them so that they don't liquidate them. So I think that's all. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Shall we rise and give our president a standing ovation again? It's a proud moment to be a Ghanaian. Yes, please. We would have vote of thanks. So if okay, upon instructions we are skipping vote of thanks, but we are very grateful to His Excellency and his delegation for gracing our occasion. We are indeed very, very grateful. Ghanaian community, I have spoken for you. We are grateful. So please, we would like to take a photo. With your kind permission, Your Excellency, if the high table could come down, and with the executives only of the Ghanaian community, because time is fast spent. Just the executives. Thank you. Yes.
Ghana, that is the anthem that we all respond to. And so you just heard the president, you also heard the foreign affairs minister, Samuel Oku Jeto Ablakwa, you heard the commissioner of Ghana to Zambia, who also spoke, you heard the chairman of the Zambian community,